Imagine what you were doing 9 years ago on a weekend like this in January. Well, it certainly wasn't getting ready for football. I don't know. Maybe you were skiing at Winter Park. Perhaps you were doing laundry. Maybe you were watching other teams play football. But on this glorious Sunday morning in Denver, Colorado, live from number 38 in Rhino, what we're doing today is getting ready for playoff football for the first time on this weekend in 9 years. Mike Sanford, Alex Ryan-Emmy, here we go.
Rev it up. It's time. And, D-Mac, I can't tell if you're nearly as excited this morning as you were on draft night.
There you
because
go.
I haven't yet heard some of the bogasms that you may have had to start. Yes, happy. There it is. And yes.
You got your yes.
Happy Sunday to all who observe
Yes.
Bo Believe Day here, sponsored by D-Mac.
I'll get to that in a second. Raj?
10 years ago, you asked me what I was doing 9 years ago. We weren't watching the Broncos, but 10 years ago, this is how far away it was. I was a senior in college watching the Broncos play football and win that Super Bowl 50 championship, and it feels like a lifetime ago, an absolute lifetime ago. And you know what it felt like, too? It felt like it was never going to end. I took it for granted. And today, I promise I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take one playoff game for granted.
When we were sitting next to each other at another bar, and Bo Nix was drafted, and I reacted like that with you and Eddie Lindahl sitting next to me, probably rolling your eyes.
How would you describe that now in kind of hindsight? What would you...
Prophetic.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, knowledgeable,
I'll have
smart,
what she's having.
intelligent. Something that I had been demanding from the Denver Broncos for the better part of a decade. That's what that was, and it all got released in a bogasm, as you said.
Released.
You know what?
Released is a great. That's a great verb to describe.
I'm not going to linger on that word. What I would say though is I was right and everybody else was wrong, and I have the receipts for that, and it's a glorious thing.
Oh, you're just like everybody else here in this 2024 Media 25 market. That all you do is just live on Receipt Street.
Well, fortunately, I have that one. The impact of Bo Nix has been, he is the most valuable player on the team. He is their best player. He's
the best player on this team.
He is the most important best player on this team.
The best player on the football team is Pat Surtain.
And Nick Benito. Nick Benito and Pat Surtain are by far.
Is Bo the most important? He is. He's not the best player on the team.
Yeah,
I would say the
best is relative to the league-wide standard.
The best is the most important is the same thing. In my viewpoint, you can disagree all you want, but the reason why the Denver Broncos are in the position they are is not because of Pat Surtain or Nick Benito. It's cool. It's awesome. Glad they're here. It's because of Bo Nix.
I do think, though, that especially if you look at what happened last night with the Chargers, the fact that they ended up drafting the quarterback, but they paired it with a guy like Sean Payton, you can't overlook that. Like, you could have drafted Bo Nix, and you could have had some other also ran as a head coach. Also head coach news in the NFL this morning. Mike Vrabel, now the head coach in New England.
What?
Yeah, breaking news.
I cannot believe it.
Shocker.
They figured that out.
They figured that out.
That is amazing.
So Vrabel, now the head coach there in New England. I think what they're looking at is if you can find the right guy at quarterback, you're not done yet. You're only halfway there. You must marry him with the perfect head coach. And while you were right, you were prophetic on that day all the way back at another bar here in Denver, and we are live at number 38. Doors open at 10. They did the right thing, and they got their guy. And we all questioned, was John Harbaugh...
I hate to interrupt,
yes.
but we do have Romy Bean live
All right.
Uh-oh.
Romy, you look fantastic. Oh, yes, Romy, how are you?
Yeah, hold on.
Go.
I wanted to get in the scene here, guys. I'm at the world-famous Red Pinto tailgate, so if you can see behind me, they are grilling up like wings and burgers on the hood of a car. Can you see that? Where are we?
We can, yes. Yes, you're doing great.
Everybody's so nice. Like, Broncos fans are everywhere. Broncos fans are welcome. Guys are taking shots out of a bowling ball over here. I did one.
Let's go,
guys,
Romy.
People want to be on it. Mike, I've been looking for a table to jump through. I haven't found one yet. But, like, I'm not a tailgate checker-outer, guys. Normally, I go in, but everybody's talked about, like, this place is one of one. And it really is. Like, it's unbelievable. And the vibes are immaculate. There's a good chunk of Broncos fans. quite a few 58 jerseys. But everybody looks and everybody's vibing. So I'm actually on top of the tailgate where all the cans are. That's where I'm standing.
That is fantastic. We won't keep you long. Go ahead, Mike. You got a question for Romy?
Yeah, Romy, I saw from some of your social media posts last night the proximity of chiropractic help near the tailgating after the dives off of RVs and trucks like you're standing on right now onto burning, flaming tables. Are you prepared to potentially make that dive and then the subsequent visit to the chiropractor's office across the street?
Look, I feel like I'm willing to volunteer as tribute, right? If this helps get the Broncos the win, if that's good mojo, then I must play my part. And it's like, when in Buffalo? So this is Hammer's Lot. This is the famous lot. And the chiropractic place is literally at the end of the lot. So, yeah, I'm willing to. Also, guys, here's the new stadium. If you want to check it out.
Wow.
Right behind me.
Yeah,
and
that's
then the
awesome.
old one, or the current one, is like across the way. So it's right there. But this is a lot. Like, look how many people are here. I never knew this, but I had to come out for the show and do this, guys.
You're the best. Give us a quick weather forecast, and then we'll let you go. What we got there today in Buffalo?
You're sick of me already, D-Mac?
Say that again?
You're sick of me already?
I'm not sick of you. No.
We just know you have
No.
You got to be on TV here in about 20 minutes.
Are you kidding me? No, we love you.
Yeah, I've been setting up for this. So the weather is nice? Question mark. Like the sun's out, which is so weird. I feel like this is the best you could ask for. When the sun goes down, it's cold. It's cold as nails. But
Yeah.
I feel like this is the warmest part of the day. I feel like it's going to be okay. It's a little windy when the wind picks up. It gets a little cold, but it's honestly for January in Buffalo, like not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I think that'll be okay. I think when it comes down to it, that's not really like an excuse either way, right? It comes down to what you see between the white lines because weather's not bad.
Okay. You got a prediction for? Oh, you got. Yeah, what?
That's what I wanted to hear from Romy because I watched her show last night, CBS Football Blitz. It's amazing that you were at View House last night. And then you are at Buffalo at a tailgate currently. The modern miracles of television.
Channel 4 time machine.
It's amazing. It really is truly amazing. But we broke this game. We broke this game down, and I want to hear Romy. You got the ultimate vibe check right now. You're currently boots on the ground in Buffalo, New York. What is your prediction? What's going to happen today?
Well, I'm thinking about this morning, and I'm thinking, guys, remember this one, enjoy this one, because this is the only time where there's no expectation. Next season, there's expectations. You are expected to get in the playoff. You're expected to get farther than you get this year. This is one of the few times in Broncos history that we're going to watch a game where, look, we want them to win, but if the Broncos lose, all right, look what Bo did in his first year. And what a cool spot to be in, especially as Broncos fans and Broncos even players, the expectations are never like that. I know they expect more, but I think that's a cool spot to be in for us as media and as fans who have watched so many iterations of Broncos teams. This is the one time where there's kind of no, you know what I mean? There's kind of no expectations. They can really play loose. I think that's going to benefit the Broncos today. Josh Allen is expected to take this team to a Super Bowl. Is he going to play tight because of it? I talked to Tracy Wolfson yesterday. She said she doesn't think so. She thinks he's going to elevate because of it, but I think they might play a little tight, especially if the Broncos can keep it close. The key is scoring early, getting to a fast start, settle Bo down, settle this crowd down. I mean, these guys this is all they have out here. They're living and breathing it, and they've been out here since 7 a.m. So I think that's important, and I think it starts and ends with Josh Allen. I think the Broncos defense, they're going to pen them in. They're going to get some takes. You got to get a pick or two. I'm a pick six. Hats are tan. Broncos upset 17-14.
Romy!
All right, Romy, do us a favor. You're standing in the back of a pickup truck with littered beer cans.
We're talking hundreds. That's hundreds of beer cans.
How about you get a good let's go Broncos thing for all the Bills fans out there?
You want me to try and get some going?
Yeah, just go, hey, let's go Broncos. See how the response goes.
Let's see.
Don't let the moment get too big for you, Romy.
I don't want to. I'm a little scared. I don't want to get kicked off the tailgate. Okay, let's see it right here. Hey guys, Let's go Broncos! There you go. There you go.
Yeah, all right.
Gotta go.
Good enough. That's good enough.
That was great.
I loved watching you face your fears. You were facing your fears in real time, and those were
That was
genuine
scary.
fears.
That was great.
I'm not
Romy,
used to that.
you are the best, the absolute best. We love you. Great job. We'll watch you on Channel 4 and watch you on your socials. Great job, Romy. Thank you. We love you. Have fun in Buffalo.
Love
See
you guys.
ya.
Thank you for having me on.
Wow, that was
was a treat.
awesome. Romy in the back of a pickup truck with empty beer cans. It's well, I guess it's a little bit later there.
Is it?
You
Could it be more on brand though for Buffalo, New York? I mean, she went to. That's why she's such a dang good journalist. She went to the best possible place to set the scene for Buffalo, New York ahead of a playoff matchup.
My life for 6 years was that. That's what I did for 6 years on the Falls in Buffalo. It is. I'm not trying to rip on Denver's tailgating scene, but geography is kind of our enemy with where the stadium is. You saw there in Buffalo, it's flat as a pancake. It looks like a scene from the movie Fargo, but it's great for tailgating. It's unbelievable, and they're doing that new stadium right next door because they do have the space for that. And listen, man, when you have nothing else going on in your life, and you live in Buffalo, you live for those sort of moments. So that creates an atmosphere. How big do you think that atmosphere will impact the game today?
I think it'll impact the game, but you got to realize in the National Football League, even Bo Nix, his first start was an opening day in Seattle against the 12th man. I mean, you're dealing with real atmospheres every single week in the National Football League. Every game matters. This is not the NBA where you go from regular season basketball to all of a sudden the postseason is so much more magnified in terms of environment. So I'm not going to downplay that Buffalo has a great atmosphere because it's most certainly will. But Bo Nix has played in great atmosphere moments after. Think about his college career. Played at Auburn. Played against Alabama.
Yeah.
And then when you're at Oregon, you played against Washington. These are huge atmosphere games.
Let me tell you something about the stadium that's a little bit unique and not great for them, by the way. It's one of those old stadiums where it goes out.
Right.
It doesn't go on top of you. It goes out. And despite how, enthusiastic people are, the sound does tend to dissipate outwards rather than right in on you. So I actually agree. The weather conditions, it's cold. But the snow came on Thursday or Friday and Saturday, not today. It's not expected to snow. It's supposed to be overcast. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. I actually don't think it's going to be too much for them to handle at all. I think it's going to be fine.
I don't think it is either. It's not like he hasn't seen this before in the NFL. Like, the dude traveled to Arrowhead, that's the toughest place to play in the National Football League.
And the audio stays in that building.
It sure does. And he, in the fourth quarter, did exactly what you need a starting quarterback to do, is march his guys down the field and set up a field goal chip shot that unfortunately gets blocked. He's done this before. He's been successful at it. And while the atmosphere in Buffalo it's great. Like, if you ever get a chance to go
Have you been?
Oh, yeah.
How many games have you been to?
4 games. Went
That's
to
awesome.
one game a year with my hockey teammates.
50 straight.
There you go.
50 straight.
He worked up there. I did not.
I do have – I'm jealous of both you guys, and I have FOMO currently for not being in Buffalo. But we're going to recreate our own Buffalo environment here at number 38 in Rhino. So come on, join us.
The atmosphere is great down there. But also the one thing that you're missing is that, like, it's not – D-Mac just mentioned it. It's not a crazy weather game.
It's not a crazy weather.
It's 10 miles an hour at 32 degrees in the middle of the day.
It's colder last week for
It's
week 18
colder
for
right
the
now
Broncos.
in Denver.
Yeah. So,
I don't know. It's pretty nice outside. It's like sunny.
Well, it's
I don't know if
beautiful
it's
out
gonna be
here. I think it's supposed to be overcast there. But to Raj's point, it's not some sort of blistering cold. There's no weirdness. It's normal this time of year weather.
Football weather. General football weather.
It turns out the weather is really not going to be an issue in Buffalo, New York, and I guess that's part of the story. Okay, we're just getting going here. The doors do open up at 10 a.m. at number 38. Incredible place to watch the game. We'll be here for the entire game, and we'll hear from everybody today. Tyler Columbus will join us next. There's been some adjustments to the Broncos roster. We'll give you that news coming up on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Alex Ryanemi. Along with Alex Ryanemi and a cast of thousands, that was amazing having Romy in a flatbed with beer cans in a parking lot doing shots out of a bowling ball. That's the whole thing. The shots out of the ball. I didn't know that was a thing until I was in Buffalo, and it's a whole thing.
Finger cheese.
Finger cheese. Goodness gracious.
We're going to have Tyler Columbus join us here in a little bit. Scott Hastings has checked in from Dallas. He'll be on with us in moments as well. So your favorites here all today on Altitude Sports Radio. Okay, some news. Tyler Bidet has been activated from IR.
So fresh and so clean. It's
So
time to get
that's
clean again.
That's we'll see. You never know.
You know what's great about it?
You never know.
It's just another option for Sean Payton to distribute a total of 10 rushes to 6 different people, which I think is phenomenal.
Okay, let's get into some X's and O's.
All right, I'm not going to be negative. Today's a great day. It's the first playoff day in a decade. I'm not going to be negative, I promise.
Is that what you're going to see?
I just want to see some running of the football.
Let me give you another couple roster things, and then we'll dig into it.
I think we got the Bills had a couple interesting ones,
Kareem Jackson
There
and
we go.
Jalen Virgil
Oh, I feel
Have
like we
been-
know you.
have been elevated for this game.
Okay.
How do you like them apples?
I think absolutely nothing will be made of it as it relates to the game. I just think sometimes this time of year you make little tiny moves here and there. Broncos had one more. It was Bidet, and then did they move? So
Well, Frank Crum went on to IR.
he must have had the old norovirus that I had.
He had
'cause
something,
been-
and they elevated Nick Gargiulo.
That's who it was. The only draft pick from George Payton's 2024 draft class that is yet to see the regular season playing surface.
Who, of course, along with Mike Sanford, is a Princeton man. And
I was a Yaley.
oh, he's a Yaley. That's what he is. That's my bad. He is a Yaley.
Yeah,
He is a Yaley.
Yale undergrad, and then South Carolina.
Correct.
Every Yale player goes to South Carolina to go study medicine or law. It's very normal.
Let's talk about the running game. What are you expecting, Raj?
I will always go back to the Kansas City game because I think that's the blueprint to try and find a way to beat the Bills this week. And
Kansas City game?
The Kansas City game that you lost in Arrowhead. Sorry, first Kansas City game. Estime looked all right. I think he got like 13 or 14 carries, just over 50 yards, but that was one of the games that you started to unlock Marvin Mims out of the backfield. I think that's what you have to do today. I do hope that Peyton doesn't fall into the trap of trying to rotate because he doesn't have a guy, and that is the issue with the running back room. It's honestly what we thought the issue was with the wide receivers going into this year. I hope he doesn't fall into that trap of I don't have a guy, so I have to give everyone touches. If you see someone who's hot, feed him the ball. Let him run the ball down Buffalo's throat because the interior of the defensive line is something that's a little bit of a weak point for this defense, and you have to lean on that in this type of game. You absolutely have to kill the clock. You have to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, and the only way to do that is to keep the ball on the ground. The issue is Sean Payton hasn't done it once this season.
Yeah, I see the same thing. From this perspective of the Chargers' first half is the best combination of ground game, leaning into a hot hand, which in that case was Audric Estime. Remember his first half. Audric Estime, the big body type, that's what you need. What do we keep hearing about the Buffalo Bills front seven? It's fairly soft, right? It's a bend but don't break type of an outfit. You can get those 4 or 5 yard carries. Well, you want to do that with somebody who can push the pile and make those 4 yard runs, 5 yard runs, 6 yard runs? Do it with Audric Estime. Use him as your bell cow running back like you did against the Chargers, and then use your change of pace out of the backfield guy, combination, a little bit of Marvin Mims as you bring up, but also Jaleel McLaughlin. That should be your rotation.
That's
and then
it.
Javonte Williams is your third down pass protecting running back. And just play football. It's not that hard. We're in week 19. Do it.
What did we learn from the games yesterday? What did we learn about playoff football from yesterday?
Well, first off, I think it's great news for the Denver Broncos what happened with Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers.
That they completely collapsed.
Yes, I do, absolutely.
And folded like
because
a chair.
I think divisional hierarchy matters a lot, and especially going into next season when you do have a Bo Nix, a rookie quarterback who did make the postseason, and you have the opportunity to look better than the Chargers, which the narrative going into the playoffs, Chargers are clearly ahead of the Broncos right now. Well, that narrative has a chance to completely shift, and the reality of it, I think, can shift with the Broncos having a good performance.
I'm just saying, Nelly, do we have Kaner, or is he trying to figure things out? What's our situation? Oh, there he is. Brett, what's your vibe here this morning for the Broncos?
I was listening to Coach. I kind of feel the same. Like the whole narrative surrounding this weekend is, hey, the Bills don't turn the ball over, and it's going to be really difficult to get the ball back. And then I watched Herbert, who had 3 picks all year, throw 4 yesterday. And look, it has nothing to do with what the Bills are going to do, but it just leaves you that little glimmer of like, hey, it's a one-game sample. Weird stuff can happen. I said it all week leading into the game that it felt to me that the Broncos would need a lot of things to go their way in order to win. Like I said, they can win the game. I think it's unlikely. But if they can keep it within a score, and then you leave it up to a Marvin Mims 40-yard punt return or a ball that tips off the hands of a receiver into Brandon Jones's hands or something like that, then you got a shot.
All right. You have your own significant paranoia about the Lions, despite their number 1 seed and favorite to go to the Super Bowl. What's your experience been like for this? Where's your paranoia with the Broncos here, Kane? What do you think?
I don't have any. Like, I'm one of the guys that I think this is house money. I've moved the goalposts multiple times throughout the course of the year. And I was the one that was saying when they were 9-5, if they don't make the playoffs, this is not going to feel like a season where you accomplish something because you were in too good a position. But now that they've done that, seeing the opponent they're going against, and I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC. I do. I think they're going to come out on top. So if they lose today, it's all depending on how it looks, I suppose. But it would be really difficult for me to go on the air tomorrow and be pissed off with the result, honestly.
Kaner, I want to get into the weeds here schematically with you. You're a ball guy, big-time football guy, and 2 really important questions regarding scheme in football. Number 1, are you going to make it down here and share a cold beer with me at number 38? And then the second question is, when is it too early to have a cold beer on a day like today?
Okay. This is my expertise. I'm so glad you brought me on for this. Number 1, schematically is what we're talking about here.
Schematically.
Schematically, it's going to be difficult to drop the X's and O's with a kid who's got a nap time around 1. So that's going to be the first thing that's difficult.
Okay.
So we'll see if we can navigate around that. Now, number 2.
Delegate to your other coaches.
Done that a bit already this weekend. Don't know if I can keep pushing that one. My assistant coach or head coach name it now. The other thing is too early? No such thing. Not on game day. Do whatever you want on game day. 8:30 in the morning. If you feel like it, then pour some Baileys in the coffee and let's roll.
All right, Brett. We'll let you go. We have Tyler Columbus joining us. Tyler, what's your vibe, man? The last time the Broncos were in the playoffs, you were playing in the game. Okay. How are you feeling about it this morning?
I'm fired up. I just pulled up to the stadium. Actually, I'm doing a Broncos watch party here that I'm showing up, hanging out with the fans, and I'm ready to roll, man. I've been listening to you guys since the beginning. I heard Romy taking shots out of bowling balls, and although I'm not taking shots out of bowling balls, I'm ready to do some playoff football.
Tyler, talk to me a little bit about just the importance of the Broncos' offensive line in this very unique spot. You've been a playoff starter as an offensive lineman for this franchise. To have a rookie quarterback in this spot, playing on the road, how important is it to have guys like Mike McGlinchey who've been there, have been in this spot to help Bo Nix get him settled down and be able to do some things in the ground game to get him feeling comfortable in this contest?
Yeah, well, listen, our offensive line is going to be really important. There's no question about it. However, I really think the battle of the trenches is going down on the other side of the ball. The Bills have got arguably the best offensive line in the NFL. They've only given up 12 sacks on the entire season. Our guys just broke a franchise record for the amount of sacks we got in a season. So I'm really, really fascinated to see that battle between our defensive line and the Bills' offensive line. And I'll tell you this, generally speaking, when you get good on good between those two groups, I always feel like it favors the defensive line. Always. So I actually expect our defensive line to be able to get home. When I say get home, create pressure. Get Josh Allen off the spot. On the other side of the ball, though, listen, you got a rookie quarterback, and I know that he's been good. And I know D-Mac's ready to anoint him as the next John Elway. But there's no better feeling for a young quarterback than getting solid protection. So I do think that Bo Nix has had tendencies this year to panic in the pocket, and he's had games where he hasn't panicked at all. So we're going to need the perfect recipe between good offensive line play and a quarterback that stays calm in the pocket.
What were your memories from this time, the last time the Broncos were in the playoffs? What do you remember personally about being in the playoffs, the first playoff game in your Super Bowl run?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a weird year for us because we played such great football all year long. And in a lot of ways, we were I should say we won so many football games. And yet in a lot of ways, we were surviving by the skin of our teeth, man. And we dropped the last couple games of that season. We did not go into the playoffs with a ton of mojo. And I think that that's interesting, right? So maybe that could be something that this team can look at and be like, look, not all teams are going to come screaming into the playoffs. Once you get there, though, I just know this, man. I played not in a ton of playoff games. I made it 3 times, generally speaking, early exits. But when you get there, there's nothing like this feeling. Once you start the game, it's a game of football. It's a game of football. But all the week leading up to it, it doesn't feel like a normal week. And there's a lot of anxiety that's going into it.
Tyler, I know you made a score prediction on PhD because there's nobody more obsessed with receipts and score predictions than your co-host here, D-Mac. Have you had any shift in your vibes, and what is your exact prediction for this game today?
You know what? I actually have had a little bit of a shift in my vibe. I think my original prediction was 30-24. I don't think it's going to be that. That's too high. That's too high. I don't see that many points being scored. And the main reason is because I'm staying overly optimistic on the Broncos winning this game. If the Broncos are going to win this game, they're not going to win this game by putting up 30 points or in that category, right? If they're going to win the game via great defense. That's how they win this game. So here's my hope. I'll tell you that. My hope is you find a way to keep Josh Allen to 24 points or less. If you keep him to 21 points or less, I think the Broncos win the football game. 24 points, I think it's going to be a coin flip. So I do have the Broncos playing really well. I think Bo Nix probably makes an early mistake. I think he probably makes an early mistake, maybe throws one interception, but he overcomes it. He plays great football, and they just come up a little bit short, unfortunately.
All right, Tyler, we appreciate it. Enjoy your time with the fans. That's awesome. And we'll talk to you later tonight. Thank you, Tyler.
All right, boys.
Okay, we do have some interesting breaking news. Did not see this coming. Tyler Bidet is active. Audric Estime is inactive.
Stop it.
Yeah, the inactives have just been released. By the way, see if you can't find the inactives for the Bills. There's an interesting twist there, too.
Oh, I hate that.
Estime, Blake Watson, Lavelle Bailey, Nick Gargiulo, who got elevated, is inactive, and Wazirike is also inactive. So going with Tyler Bidet rather than – so he's certainly – they're expecting Tyler Bidet to play then. You wouldn't do that if you're not going to hand him the ball.
Certainly not, but what they're going to do now, and I think this is – like if Vic knows this news has come down the pike, Vic's got to be ecstatic. You're going to have to lean into running Bo Nix today. You will have to lean into utilizing that strength to win today's football game.
We have a very interesting twist, too. We'll get back into the running game.
Yep.
But now that we know the inactives are out, I got a fun one for you guys. The inactives for the Bills include Brandon Codrington. Also, Kareem Jackson and Jalen Virgil are both elevated but inactive. So
I knew that. I knew that was going to be the case.
Drama.
Yeah.
Now, why is this entering with Brandon Codrington inactive?
Please enlighten me.
He's their punt kick returner. Do you know who their now fill-in will be?
Keon Coleman?
KJ Hamler.
Oh, okay.
How about that, sports? How about that, sports fans? And if you wanted to have on the bingo card KJ Hamler turning the ball over to lead to the Bills' misery, You wouldn't find that very often.
Boy, wouldn't that be beautiful? That'd be a great storyline for the Broncos.
He is, well, we'll see what they do. They don't have to use him, obviously. But in general, Romy. Hey, there she is.
She was just on with us. Now she's live inside the stadium.
Well, she looks much more professional, like inside the stadium rather than the back of a pickup truck. So, she looks fantastic. And look at the stadium. No big deal, right? I mean, cold, whatever, overcast.
Standard football weather. In,
nothing.
In the Midwest, right? This isn't the East Coast. Buffalo is the Midwest. Is that right? I totally disagree. Buffalo is in New York, and New York is a state in the East Coast.
Yeah, and it's in the East Coast time zone. I have no idea why you would say it's in the Midwest.
It's on the opposite side of the lake. What are you talking about, Kevin Shockey?
You know what it is? It's in the middle of nowhere, and it sucks. Yeah. How about if I just leave it like that?
Yeah. All I know is this, is that East Coast people, if you live on the Atlantic Ocean, you think that 4 miles inland till the coast is the East Coast. Everything else is the Midwest.
Well, which
is ridiculous.
Growing up on the ocean, that's exactly what we thought.
Yeah, you did.
We were like, Worcester.
See, it's weird because in
Worcester
the opposite,
might as well be in Connecticut.
I grew up in Orange County. I'm 2 miles from the beach, the Pacific Ocean, and I consider Colorado the West Coast.
What?
I do.
We have no coast.
It's the vibes, man. It's Western United States. It's flat bill hats. It's people having a good time. It's sun outside on a Sunday in January. That's West Coast good vibes, man. That's what we got today, D-Mac.
That's the mountains, and that is stupid. Okay.
I do not like this Tyler Bidet, and more importantly, I can't stand the fact that Audric Estime is inactive.
How about that?
Oh, I hate it.
I think it's the dumbest move unless there's a major reason for it. An illness that is undisclosed. Sometimes
he was fine on the. He
so
practiced all week.
What you're telling me now is that the last 8 weeks of building up the confidence and the role of Audric Estime, now it's all for naught just because. And Tyler Bidet had some really good moments early in the season. When's the last time he's had real impactful touches of the football? Are we talking week 4, week 5?
I mean, he's going to get touches, but we're also not talking about Javonte Williams. Like he's the guy that you now have to kind of lean on him and Jaleel McLaughlin. You're gonna think that Tyler Bidet is going to get more touches than Javonte is today.
I mean, Javonte is clearly been elevated into we'll say relegated to the role of being the third down protecting back and used out of the backfield. So
but now you don't have a bruiser. He's the
somebody
closest
please
thing you have
somebody please make the running back rotation of the 2024-25 Broncos season make sense to me. I do not understand it, D-Mac.
I think we have Scott Hastings. Nelly, is that right? Do we have Scott Hastings on from Dallas, I believe? Scott, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, right on, Scott. Thank you so much. We have Nuggets action later today against Dallas. Scott, what is your vibe on the game? What are your feelings about the Broncos game today?
Well, let me tell you my first thought. This is honest God truth. After last night, I am so thankful the Broncos didn't play Houston or Baltimore. Right there, after last night, we should be going, thank you, Lord. Thank you right there. We still got a shot because you know what? The way Houston, the way Baltimore played last night, you had no shot. So let's see if Buffalo can now rise to the occasion that those two teams did.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point because I was lobbying for the Houston, to do everything you can to get into that spot to play against the Texans. I know you watched the game last night a little bit. Now that Bo Nix, a guy that both you and I have been, I think we've been fair. But also haven't necessarily anointed him as the next John Elway, like the guy that's sitting to my left right now currently, Darren
Right.
Key. But when you look at the AFC West and the hierarchy of where Mahomes is clearly 1A, 1A, 1B, 1C as a quarterback and the franchise with the Chiefs, what do you think the Broncos have as an opportunity with how poorly Justin Herbert played last night? And it's an opportunity for Bo Nix and the Broncos to potentially really go into next season as the second best in the AFC West.
I was listening when Tyler was on. He was talking about stress and anxiety, and I'm not going to say that there wasn't some excitement every time the playoffs started that brought a little something special. One, you knew you weren't going to kill yourself on back-to-back nights. You weren't traveling here, then there, and stuff in the NBA. But anxiety and pressure is self-inflicted. And with all the teams, here's what's amazing to me, Coach. And you know, even when you coached in college, I'm sure you guys did this too. The sports psychologists that are involved in football teams and basketball teams and all these things now, they should have a better handle on going into games and having this self-inflicted pressure. But then again, you know, it's probably human nature. I don't know if Bo Nix is ever going to, well, he's not. He's never going to have Justin Herbert's arm. How did that arm look last night? 4 interceptions.
Not good.
You know, so, and I've said this on our show before, I think this is probably going to turn out to be the perfect storm, and there may not have been any other guy, and I mean any other guy, and you can argue Washington and all this stuff, but Bo Nix is the perfect guy for Sean Payton. And I think that's played out so far. I think he's got his mindset. He's got his toughness. He's able to execute quick passes quickly. I think they're going to be in the ballgame. I think people are underestimating this defense. And if you want anything that will keep a playoff game, a regular season game, or anything else close, it's the defense they got. I think people have slept on that defense nationally. And I think they got an opportunity to show something right here tonight. And we joked about it this week. They went into Buffalo and won in Buffalo last year with Russ. Well, everybody's telling us, right, that this guy, Bo Nix, is better than Russ. After last night, you might think so. This defense is better than it was last year. And it sure felt like they had something figured out against Buffalo. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think if Bo Nix is able to calm the spirit. He's a man of faith, man. You know there's things bigger than him. If he's able to sink into that and go, listen, you know, this ain't curing cancer. This is a football game. You know, I'm not operating on a brain tumor. This is a football game. And when you can get in that mindset and realize, man, I'm just in here. Let's go out and ball. And I know I'm long-winded. I'm sorry. I was so shocked when I played with the Detroit Pistons. That was a veteran team. The mindset going into postseason. Like when we were in Atlanta, we were like, you know, we were the young bull. We were the young bull on the hill with the old bull. Let's go down and get us one. And when I was with Pistons, they were old bulls. You know what they were? Let's go down and get them all. And you got to almost have this mindset. The game didn't overwhelm the team. And Bo Nix has a strength, I think, that should be able to get over that. And if he is, and if he can now bring – here's where leadership comes in, don't you guys think? If Bo Nix is that leader, I don't even care who he is, muscle, arm strength, I don't care. But if he's that leader, he's going to bring the tension down a little bit. And they're going to go ball. And D-Mac said this week, you two probably also said it, all the pressure's on Buffalo. Man, if they just go out loose, have fun, and do what they do well, let's see whose sphincter gets tightened and is pooping rabbit pellets at the end of the game.
And on that note, we'll let you go. Scott, have a good call on the on Altitude TV.
Hey, flip on over while you're there at 38. You know, just have a little TV dedicated over there on the side.
We will. We'll keep it in the corner. We'll watch you guys.
Way over here.
You can't put Scotty in a corner.
You know,
all right, brother.
Right by the bathroom.
Call.
Maybe see if they can flip the bathroom game on over in the bathroom.
Hopefully we'll talk to you later tonight, unless you have that big dinner with your good friend that you talked about.
I do have dinner. Let's hope it's done for us.
Okay. All right,
you guys
Scott,
are all married. Being able to go home to your hotel room and it's quiet, and you ain't arguing over the remote, and you can just sit back, kick your shoes off. You know, I kind of excited about that.
I hope the warden isn't listening right now. I tell you
what.
what.
No, the warden's going on her own business trip, so she, you know.
Yeah. I don't think we need to
She's
get more
going out
graphic.
hoeing or something.
All right, Scott. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
I love you guys.
All right, love you too, Scott. I see you.
Love you, brother.
What are you seeing, Raj?
I see snow.
Oh, well.
Unless Leggy needs to use some like Head and Shoulders, he just got dandruff going on.
Yeah, I actually have noticed.
It's a little sprinkle.
Although
and I guarantee Romy doesn't have that problem. There's some white stuff in her hair.
Yeah.
That's snow.
Pause.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We are live at number 38. They're opening up the garage doors.
Happy Sunday, y'all.
It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. Well, here we go. You're fired up, man. I've actually never. It's occurring to me. I've actually never really been with you on a game day, like game day.
Just kind of fired up, man. I'm just excited. I love football.
Fired up.
Today is a day of celebration. Even if you're playing or coaching, you only get these types of opportunities as a player or coach, and heck, even as a fan, D-Mac. Think about how long it's been.
Are you really seriously going to stand up? Or are you going to sit down? Are you really? You're like this.
He does our whole show standing up, and half the time, Have you ever watched our show from like inside the studio? Half the time he's standing like Captain Morgan, just I went to say something. I think we're on FCC rules.
And I've already used deposit appropriately. So.
If this was Altitude After Dark, I could say the word I wanted to. He does the show for an hour and 15 minutes like this.
Yep.
Okay, well, I appreciate the energy and enthusiasm. I think it's awesome.
Am I making you feel uncomfortable, D-Mac?
Well,
balls on the table.
And that pose right there. I mean, I'm only so big. Okay, so here we are at number 38. They have opened up the garage doors. The people are coming in already. The doors aren't. Well, I guess they are open.
It's 9:49.
Not even 10 o'clock.
They're letting the muggles in early.
All right, so if you want to come on in. The doors are obviously open. People
the muggles, the media types.
Raj used that in an inappropriate way, and I just rolled with it.
Please explain.
He used it wrong. The muggles are the.
We're the muggles, right?
And Raj are clearly muggles.
So
you're not a muggle. You're a former athlete and coach. You're not a muggle.
Yeah, you've got some fairy dust of superstardom, because you've actually done this sort of stuff.
Not really. I mean, I held for extra points and field goals.
Well, what do you think me and Raj were doing?
Watching from press row.
Right, like you, Tyler, Scott. There's a little, even Kaner. Even Kaner to a little degree. There's some sort of division between Muggle and player. There's an in-between land. It's actually probably more frustrating to be in your land because you just never really lived up to what you were gifted with.
Oh, okay. That's great. Yeah. Well, I mean, you did.
That's true, Raj. Tell me I'm wrong.
Every time I look at someone who's 6'3" or 6'4", I go, "Why aren't you making $10 million?"
Right. It's more disappointing for them than us.
Yeah.
It's clear. Oh, well, here we go.
Speaking of not living up to, potentially expectations, you guys both went to the same university that Mike Tirico went, and you're here in Denver on Altitude Sports Radio, and he's doing national games. So how have you guys lived up to the standard of Syracuse
University? That was a low blow.
University?
That was low.
How about that?
That was offside.
Yeah, well.
You didn't have to say that.
Well, you guys pretty sure that you threw the first punch there, D-Mac.
You
threw the overhand right. Now.
There's Vince Lombardi, and then there's Mike Sanford. Show me the gap between that. Where exactly does that live? There's whatever you want to do.
Everybody love everybody.
We are here to celebrate the Broncos in the playoffs, and it does feel good, and we are getting fired up, and people are rolling in, which is awesome. Bo Nix jerseys. Talk to me about Bo Nix. What kind of year has he had, and what do you expect out of him today?
Maturity. That's been the number one description of Bo Nix, the journey of the 24 season that finds itself into 25. It started out with a couple rough starts, but not terrible starts. Like there was nothing in the Seahawks or Steelers game that made me think he's a bust. And I just thought that the overall maturity that he showed, a lot of people talked about growth and development. I mean, I thought he got more comfortable, but I didn't see like this insane level of growth and development because, frankly, he's 24 years old. I think he's going to be 25 any day now. He's got so much experience, so much maturity. He didn't need to physically and in my opinion, didn't need to emotionally mature at all this year in his development. I just think he's been very, very comfortable in the position, and I think he's been a revelation from a leadership and intangible standpoint for this franchise.
I think he hasn't stepped out of line at any point this season. And again, I think I said on the show on Friday, he could throw 3 or 4 picks today and they could get beat by 30, and I'm still very comfortable going into next season because of what he's shown. He has grown throughout every stage of the year. He looked green at the beginning of the season with those couple of games that, honestly, he lost because he threw 2 picks. But he has done everything that Sean Payton has asked him to do. And just think about it this way. You win an overtime game in, what was that, week 16, week 15? What was the overtime game? You win an overtime game. You don't get a field goal kick blocked. You're then a 12-win team.
Oh, you're saying if they won the – I'm sorry.
You're
I was
talking
confused.
The Bengals,
so
week 17.
Saying, gotcha.
Week 17.
If they won that,
You go for 2 against the Bengals, you get it. You don't get a field goal kicked, a chip shot blocked against Kansas City. You are now a 12-win team with a rookie quarterback that, again, ask me. I was sitting right next to you taking the video when you went nuts on draft day.
Yeah.
I thought it was an overdraft. He could have been a 12-win quarterback. in just a little flip of a coin.
Yeah.
He is surpassed every expectation I have had. I think he's probably surpassed all expectations that you had this year.
A little bit. Listen, I thought, and I do think the Broncos are on a Lions trajectory. And the first year of the Lions trajectory, they had a winning season and didn't quite get to the playoffs. That's what I thought the Broncos were going to do. 8, maybe 9 wins, but not quite make it. The fact that they're here and they're here today is above what I expected. So I absolutely think this is house money. I do have different expectations for next year. And 2 years from now, I do think it'd be a disappointment if the Broncos are not in the same conversation that the Lions are. A 14, 15 win sort of team that's battling for the number 1 seed and battling for the playoffs. I do think what I could not anticipate on draft night, despite how excited I was that we would be firmly in the category of the Bills, Ravens, Bengals, I think even Chargers, despite how bad they played yesterday, meaning for the next 10 years.
Right.
You are in that mix. Even like the Bengals, you don't make it because that's really disappointing, but don't tell me they're not in the mix for it. The Broncos haven't even been sniffing this conversation for the better part of the decade. And now with Bo Nix and Sean Payton, the way they're set up, knocking on all sorts of wood and everybody's healthy, this will be the case, you guys realize, as Josh Allen has for the past 7-8 years, Lamar Jackson, and it's going to keep going.
Allen.
The Broncos are now in that category.
D-Mac, I absolutely love everything that you do as a media member, as a guy that's been sports talk radio host for years. And a lot of that is the quarterback position is the storyline when you're talking about football. And it's the storyline that everybody wants to hear and wants to discuss. It's the most important position in the most significant game on planet Earth, which is the game of football. But I do think that we can't gloss over the fact that the biggest aspect of this year's team and the reason that this team is in the position that they're in is because of this defense. And I do think that Vance Joseph, this defensive front, and George Payton he's constructed this personnel to be in a place that they might be the storyline coming out of this game if the Broncos win. Because it would be this defense stopping Josh Allen, limiting him, and then finding a way to give the football to your rookie quarterback with a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter.
We'll check in with Nate Kreckman as we'll check in with Andy Lindahl as well as we're live from number 38. The weather in Buffalo is relatively mild, a couple of light snowflakes, but looking over Romy and Jeff Legwall's shoulders, it's a little overcast, 30 degrees. The weather ain't going to be a thing. It is a gorgeous day here in Denver, Colorado. They got the doors open here at number 38, so you can be inside or outside. But the doors are open, people are lining up, and we are ready for the playoffs on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. We see Bo Nix warming up, Josh Allen. It's cold, you can see your breath, but it's really not that big of a deal in Buffalo, New York. An hour from kickoff for the Broncos to be back into the playoffs with Alex Ryanemi and Coach Mike Sanford. It's D-Mac and the folks are lined up here at number 38. I think everybody wants it to be a little cold. Everybody kind of is like wearing warmer weather gear and kind of wants that indoor-outdoor sort of experience here at number 38, which is pretty awesome. And we got it for you. Nate Kreckman joins the show. Nate, your initial thoughts on playoff football for the Broncos today?
Sean Payton going with the bidet. That's the play that he's going with today. No Audric Estime. He wants that speed on the edges. He's going to stay away from Daquan Jones. And in the event anything gets messy, you've got bidet in there to clean it up, fellas.
Oh, I love it.
All right, Nate, what's it going to come down to today?
It's going to come down to ball security, ultimately, is what it's going to be. If the Broncos can play, not to make another bidet joke, but if the Broncos can play a clean game of football, they will stay in this thing. Like, I know Josh Allen only had 8 turnovers all season long. The Bills had the best turnover differential in all of the NFL. Yeah, but like, go back and look at the Baltimore game. He still got sacked 3 times in that game, and Baltimore is really the only team on Buffalo's schedule that has anything close to a comparable pass rush to Denver's. If the Broncos can get to him, and they've gotten to basically everybody so far this season, they can create some havoc and a couple of turnovers, and you can hang in this game. Good field position, and you can hang in this game. By the way, one other note that I saw from the Inactives, did you guys see Khalil Shakir is going to be the punt returner today for Buffalo?
Not KJ Hamler.
All right. Well, that's interesting because there was talk about KJ Hamler being that guy. So they're not going with KJ.
What I saw was with Codrington out, they're going to go with Khalil Shakir, who he didn't return any punts this year for the Bills. Now, he returned at Boise State, as the Sandman knows.
And he was very good.
He was very good, and Khalil Shakir's a damn good player, but also, there's another possibility for the Broncos. If Shakir indeed is the guy back there returning punts, and that was what I saw on Twitter today, again, maybe take advantage of a guy that hadn't done it all year. Maybe he coughs one up, and the Broncos can get good field position again.
Yeah, Krecker, is you being about the only true intellect on our airwaves that I respect, and certainly from an analytics perspective.
You host a show with me.
Exactly.
That was not very nice.
Well, I'm saying he is a true intellect and an analytics guy.
I'm going to go home.
Some people would call him a nerd. I don't call him a nerd. I just respect
who would call me that?
I don't know. Somebody who thinks that numbers as a form of forecasting success in a football contest is dumb.
He has female relations and children.
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
Allegedly.
I'm actually just trying to give the man a compliment. But
it
with
happened
that being
at
said,
least twice.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Krecker, when you look at such an incredible outlier of number, which is the sack totals for the Denver Broncos defense, which is not all that far away. We figured out it was like 9 away from being an NFL record for sacks in a season. Broncos
what
get
was it, the 86 Bears, I want to say?
That's what it was.
I think it was
exactly.
Yeah.
1986 Bears was the all-time, which is even more impressive in a 16-game season. Obviously, the Broncos had 63 in a 17-game season. But then on the flip side, you look at the Buffalo Bills, 14 sacks for Josh Allen. When you look at that kind of an outlier in terms of numbers, what do you think is going to be what's going to give on that particular matchup today?
I love what VJ had to say about it is with that guy, it's not about that initial oncoming rush. It's about hemming him in and the Broncos being able to do a good job of that, which really they kind of did a good job of that against Lamar Jackson. In the Baltimore game, it doesn't show up because they lost by 1,000, but they actually did a pretty good job of that. And again, it's are you keeping him inside the pocket? Are you not giving him those sort of outside escape routes that Josh Allen can kill you with, that honestly Bo Nix can kill you with too. He's pretty damn good at that part of the game. But are you keeping him in? And then on that second wave, are you trusting coverage down the field with that second wave coming? Then you're hitting him, or you're deflecting a pass, or you're forcing him into a bad decision right there. Like VJ was dead on when he was talking about how that has to be the game plan. If you're just sending pressure directly off the edge, and if it's a corner coming off the edge, Jaquan McMillan's not going to tackle Josh Allen, right? Like that's not going to be effective for the Broncos. It's going to be about winning and coming in waves, and if they're able to do that, again, I don't think you're going to sack him 7 times like they did to Joe Burrow, but I think they can get to him a few times and do it enough to maybe force him to make a mistake.
After what happened last night with the Chargers just falling flat on their face and 4 interceptions, like the 2 biggest coaching hires that we've seen in the NFL over the last decade are here with Sean Payton and Harbaugh with the Chargers in L.A. And unfortunately for him, his first foray into the playoffs is a complete failure. We've seen Sean Payton try and force himself upon a game. Does the result from last night make you a little bit nervous that he's out to maybe prove something today, that hey, I was actually the guy, I was the belle of the ball, all the people in Denver that were talking about how I was the number 2 option are now wrong?
Well, don't forget he was the number 3 option, actually, because the guy that beat Harbaugh last night, D'Amico Ryans, that was the other guy that they wanted more than Sean Payton. But let me turn your question on its other side there, Raj. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe a motivated Sean Payton coming into this game and saying, okay, I have got the game plan in place going up against Sean McDermott and his defense and what they try to do, that if Sean Payton stays disciplined in a smart game plan, he can go and win that game today. One of the things that I'm looking for, and Sandman, you can tell me if I'm dead wrong on this, but I want to see the Broncos in heavy formations today. I want double tights. I want some of that 12 stuff with Michael Burton out on the field, because this is a Buffalo team that wants to live in nickel. They're a smaller, faster defense, and I want to see the Broncos counter that with size and bulk and running the football. And you might look at it and say, well, you're not playing Audric Estime today. How does that necessarily add up? I want to see the Broncos going big and attacking the edges of that defense. I think that's why Bidet is active. I think this is a big McLaughlin game today. This is a big Mims game today. Now, again, all this contingent upon the score staying in, basically within reach, and the Broncos staying in a good, positive game script. If they find themselves down, I think this game gets really, really tough. But kind of to your point, Raj, I'm excited to watch Sean Payton go out and sort of flex his play-calling muscle today.
Nate, do you have a prediction?
So the prediction that I gave on the show, I took Buffalo to win 34-23. And again, it's just I'm just betting on an offense that basically scores 30 every single week, that can beat you in multiple ways, and their quarterback being awesome. I'm staying in that space, but again, based on my comments, I see a path to a Denver victory. It's just, if they played 10 times, I think the Bills would probably win 8 of them. It's just, can you get that 20% performance today?
Good stuff, Craig. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you later tonight. Nate Kreckman, way to go, my man.
You guys rule. Thank you.
We bring on Mark Mosier, but before we bring on Moj, the line on the game has dipped to Buffalo by 7.5.
Uh-huh.
So it had been 8.5, 9, 8.5, 9, 9.5. It had been going like that. This morning, it's at 7.5.
Yeah.
Oh,
tell you
wow.
what, follow the Sharps. This is where the Sharps show up.
Interesting.
Let's get weird.
Mark Mosier, who has been rescued from Winnipeg.
Some out-of-control Coke dealer was listening to John Gruden and put everything on the Broncos. That's what happened. He put enough to dip that son of a gun down to 7.5. So,
well, the way you sound now, you would know.
Thanks, buddy.
Are you okay? That was rough last night, Moj. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, it was. Winnipeg was minus 15, dudes.
Good for Team USA with Hellebuck, but bad for the Avalanche playing the Jets. That's for sure. Golly,
no
man,
doubt about
180 straight shutout minutes is woo. Where are you?
What
are
you
you
do
home?
about that?
When did you get home?
Yeah. I walked in the house about 12 after midnight last night sometime. Something like that. I don't, not bad. Gained an hour coming home, so that's really good. I've been listening to you guys talk, and I hear about Nate and his jumbo packages and, all this stuff, And, hey now. Hey, Coach, don't get any ideas, you know what I mean? All right. So, no, but I don't disagree with him. I think this is an opportunity here, guys. Whatever Sean Payton has in his toolbox, pull it out. That's good. Whatever you got, whatever you haven't shown on film this year, what I don't want you to do is be silly. You can't be silly. But if you've got something that you feel good about, that you feel like you can run, even sometimes that's not on film for Buffalo to pre-scout it, you might as well pull it out and let's see what you got. I've been listening to you guys. Everything you've been saying, I don't necessarily disagree with. That being said, I still think they need that and to play a nearly perfect game in order to win. Okay, so that's the way I feel about it, Coach. I really do.
Yeah, I think that there is. I think the National Football League. It's a league full of stars. I think that there's kingmakers, and I think the NFL has created a king in Josh Allen. And my question is why? What has he done to warrant that type of respect from a national perspective that you should just show up and be instantly a double-digit or two-score
I just saw
underdog.
the stat on television. He's got the highest touchdown-to-interception ratio in the history of the National Football League in the playoffs with a minimum of 10 games.
He brought an organization that had missed the playoffs 17 years in a row.
He's very good.
To the brink. If he was not playing in the time of Patrick Mahomes, he'd be a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, well,
as with Lamar Jackson.
there is
likely.
one Patrick Mahomes, and there's one Patrick Mahomes, and everybody wants to try to discount what he's done.
Are you really questioning what has Josh Allen done?
Yes, I am, because
that is an amazing question.
Quarterbacks, after your fourth, fifth, sixth year in the National Football League, it's not what you've done in the regular season. See Lamar Jackson. It's about what you've done in the postseason.
What's that got to do with Mark Mosher?
God bless you. God bless you, Coach. God bless you.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And listen, I see what you're saying because I look at the numbers. I look at the number. Yeah, I look at the numbers and I'm like, that doesn't feel like an MVP season to me. Yet everybody's talking MVP. If you're asking me, it's Lamar or Saquon all day and all night. That's my vote.
Bo Nix himself, the rookie quarterback, a higher completion percentage, more touchdown passes.
But Coach,
only 100 less rushing yards.
God forbid me forever questioning a coach and a former quarterback on this topic. But he's better than Bo Nix, okay? I'm just going to flat out say it. He's a better quarterback than Bo Nix.
He's more talented, without question, he's more talented.
Okay, he runs better than Bo Nix. He throws less picks than Bo Nix. He's got more experience than Bo Nix. He's bigger than Bo Nix. He can punish more than Bo Nix. He can push the ball down the field more than Bo Nix. As of right this second, me looking at you and all your Broncos here, and by the way, you look gorgeous. You look absolutely gorgeous. But I'm telling you, in every facet of the game, there's nothing that Bo Nix right this second does better than Josh Allen. So I'm not ready to crown Josh Allen as Patrick Mahomes and an MVP, but he's going to have the advantage going into today's game in every facet of the game.
Moj, where did you grow up? What part of the world?
Beautiful Sacramento, California.
Absolutely.
You know that.
So you grew up in the shadow of Joe Montana, did you not?
Absolutely, I did.
Was there anything that Joe Montana physically did better than Dan Marino? Was he bigger? Did he have more arm strength? Or was he there in the moments to find ways to win football games when it mattered, which is how you're remembered in your legacy as a champion? And that, to me, that can't be measured. That's something you can't see at a combine.
Could not agree. I could not agree more. People would look at Joe Montana, D-Mac, people would look at Joe Montana's arm and like, when the ball had to get there, you know what it did? It got there, and it got there right on the damn money. And that's an absolute fact. I mean, Coach is right about that, D-Mac. But, look, what I don't want to do, I have hopes, I have aspirations, I have dreams, and I have wants for today's game. I just think that things are going to have to go really right, and I don't want to discount what the Buffalo Bills are. That's a damn fine football team.
One of my favorite memories of this entire season was, and I forget what game it was, but I get
I know where you're going.
I get a text from Mark Mosher.
Receipt Street. Here we go.
We need to have a conversation about Bo Nix. I forget what game that was, Moj, when you sent me that. We got to have a conversation.
Halfway through week 2.
It was
No, it was halftime.
Oh, you were there. We were sitting right there together. And Moj,
it was the Raiders game, the first Raiders game. Halftime, the Raiders were leading, and Bo Nix was stuck in neutral.
Moj, as somebody who didn't want to draft Bo Nix in the first place, as somebody who wanted to have a conversation about Nix, where are you today with Bo Nix, and do you regret sending out that I want to have a conversation?
100%. Yeah, I do. I do regret it because I didn't think.
Wow. Okay, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, here's why. Because I go back now, gentlemen, and I look at what Sean Payton's game plan was with the young man. I didn't realize he had this much fight, fire, and oomph. He's got something inside of him that is esoteric that you can't teach. Like if you could take what's inside of Bo Nix and put it in Nathan Peterman, you might have a player. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I agree.
I think he's got something that, or put it inside Mitchie Trubisky or a number of different dudes who've got skill and arm talent, but they don't have what's going on up here, brain, and just this thing that you can't touch. It's something that is – when I saw him last week go up after that first drive, and he basically – you ever see those videos where like the baby tiger sneaks up on his mom and jumps on his mom, and the mom jumps up and goes, wow. You ever seen those videos?
Sure.
Okay. Bo Nix did that to Sean Payton on the sideline. He had his back to Bo Nix, and Bo Nix
nice
comes
call.
up and he goes, bam, and he puts both – he bams him on the top of his shoulders like you would do to me. You know what I mean? Like, bam, and you're like, Jesus. And he'd turn around, and then they have this, really cool conversation. I mean, can you even imagine Russ in your entire life ever even thinking about doing something like that? So he's got this thing with Coach Payton as well. Now, let me go back and say this. It's now easier for me to see from training camp all the way through, let's call it week even 10 maybe, but 9, 10, that you can see the building blocks that Coach Payton was putting around him. Quick screens, crosses, this and that. You're not touching this part of the field. Maybe once per game, and you can't do it yet. But he's building this foundation before it becomes the Great Pyramid of Giza. And it's not completed yet, but you can see how the field opened up as the season went along. Not only could he make those throws, but he was allowed to make those throws. They gave him permission. And so it all started to come together. So, yeah, I regret that now. This guy's the guy, but is he enough of the guy yet to win this game? I think they could win, but it's going to be difficult. That's all I'm saying.
Great stuff, Moj, as always, and great call in the game last night. Enough with Winnipeg. We got a nice homestand.
Are you guys kicking me off the show? Am I done? Are you kicking me off?
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, I didn't hear enough spleens and guts, and I wanted some cow intestines last night, and I didn't get it. So
we're at number 38 in Rhino.
Listen,
you can get in your car and get your ass down here.
Listen up. I had to get up this morning at 7 a.m. I had to get up this morning at 7 a.m. and I had to take. Where's Dixon? Is he there?
Yeah, he is.
He better. I had to take him this air card that I took on the road with me. He better be using that for this broadcast because we
didn't need it.
7
actually,
a.m.
We did. We're not using it.
Yeah, we have tremendous Wi-Fi here. It's amazing. Didn't need it.
Glad you got up though.
Are we on? Is this being recorded anywhere video-wise? Because I'd like to flip both of you and all of you off, and Dixon too, and the whole 9 yards.
You can do that. I've done it to you, Moj. I did it. I did it on Altitude TV before.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Well, I don't know. I like talking. I like talking football with you
right
guys.
away.
Hey, I know we got to get to break, but I'm really looking forward to this.
Do you
know
we have to get to break? Do you really know that? I don't know if you do know that.
Well, then I'm not going. I got some more. Then I got some more things to say. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going.
You want to just hang on? All right,
leaving.
hang on.
I'm not effing leaving.
We'll take a break. Andy Lindahl will join us next, so you guys can both yell at each other, and the three of us can take a walk. So we'll do that live from. Stay there, Moj. Stay. Don't go anywhere. Did he leave?
He just turned his camera off.
Stay there. We'll have Andy Lindahl join us next. We're at number 38 in Rhino. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. All right, we are joined now. Mark Mosher is still with us, I think. Andy Lindahl joins us. He's got the old school D on. Good to see you, Mr. Lindahl. How are you, my friends? Andy.
Good morning.
They're showing the Kyle Brandt pickleball feature.
We have to talk to Vic Lombardi about that.
Let me just tell you, you want to talk about the world of impressive television and production? This guy did like a 2.5-minute rant on the game comparing the Broncos to pickleball.
Never
In one shot where he's actually playing pickleball. How he actually did this is actually pretty remarkable from a production standpoint. His analogy that the Broncos are, I guess, a pickleball team. Andy, are you familiar with what I'm talking about here? Or is this kind of new news to you?
Well, I've got NFL Network on, so I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. But Kyle used to write for Jim Rome. I didn't know that, but apparently he was one of the writers for Rome, and that's why he's so smooth at his takes. But you're right, he doesn't. I watch Good Morning Football every morning, and whatever he's got, it is on point. So,
well, let me
of course,
just
when I'm done, I watch it after Mosher, Lombardi, and Kane, of course. At 9 o'clock is when I tune in. So
well, they're still on it. All right, I won't point that out. The concept is, Moj, Andy, Raj, Mike, that the Broncos are a pickleball team, that they're kind of fun to be there, but they're sort of light in substance, that sort of thing.
And the Bills are playing tennis.
Correct.
That's the big piece of it, right?
Andy, what do you think of that? And then we'll go to Moj on that. What do you think, Andy?
Look, guys, I think it's a fair analogy right now. I felt really good about this Bronco game all week because I like their defense, right? And I don't think the offense has to be the star of the show because, let's be honest, the offense isn't necessarily what got you here. You were built on your defense, and that's how you won some road games. But, man, I tuned into some of those games, specifically that Charger-Houston game, and I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, there are higher seeds for a reason in these playoffs sometimes. And so that's kind of that smack of reality. But, look, I think, D-Mac, I think all of us have talked about it on our shows, judging by the promos Marky made. The Broncos literally have nothing to lose. D-Mac, you and I, Mark, we covered Bronco teams with Manning where every time a playoff game started, they had all the pressure. You better not screw this up. You're supposed to go to the Super Bowl. This better not be a tight game. That's Buffalo right now, right? Broncos, who cares? If you get boat raced, so what? I don't think they will, but if you do, so what? You weren't supposed to be here. They can play as free as can be, and I think those are the teams that should scare you the most. So give me pickleball, D-Mac.
All right, Moj, what do you think?
I completely agree. I think that everybody's saying some smart things today. The pressure is clearly on the Buffalo Bills. Their window is shrinking every single year, and when you lose Diggs and you start to take away players from what was a team that maybe was supposed to win, and now even more pressure is on Josh Allen. We'll see if he can handle it. They have a window. The Broncos' window is – I would say the Broncos' window isn't even open yet. This is not an open window. They've just sort of unlocked the window. They haven't opened it yet, and yet here they are. The pressure is clearly on Buffalo. The Broncos have all the house money. That's the term that everybody's been coining. I completely agree. Let it all hang out. I mean, you should just go on out there. Those guys should be stepping on the field today saying, you know what? This is fun, baby. Let's just go have some fun. Let's just freewheel and do our thing. And Sean Payton, don't be a stick in the mud, man. Don't be a stick in the mud. Let's go. Let's use this as an opportunity to show how creative you are as a coach and how much an old dog can learn new tricks. Let's go do this thing. So I completely agree with that, with what Andy is saying. I just think that overall what Buffalo has going for them in terms of yards per game, their turnover ratio, guys, is by far the best in the National Football League in a million miles. And Ross just brought it up.
Well, they're plus 24 in giveaway takeaway, number one in the league.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable.
And
they're unbelievable.
They're eight better than the second place team, and they're twice as good as anybody else in the league, and 5 times as good. And what Raj was saying, in the postseason, Allen is really, really good at that. Just a lot has to go right. I think the Broncos' defense is by far the best side of the football. If they can't run the ball and they force Nix into being just a passing guy, that plays right into Buffalo's hands. I mean, would you rather drop a game plan to defend Buffalo today or drop a game plan to defend the Denver Broncos? I would say you'd rather defend the Denver Broncos. So I'm just trying to bring some reality to this. I've got wishful thinking. I'm the king of wishful thinking, but you've got realities you have to deal with.
Well, the real king of wishful thinking is Andy Lindahl. He's the guy that always gives me a motivational pep talk of optimism, of orange-colored glasses, never any negativity whatsoever. And
because if you're not, you're living in a van down by the river.
So I need my guy, Andy Lindahl, to give me a pep talk because I'm
go.
about ready to jump off of whatever edge here in River North District into the river with Audric Estime being inactive, and now Tyler Bidet being active.
Yeah.
Talk me into why this is a good idea, Andy Lindahl.
Well, you're asking the wrong guy. I was going to ask you what the hell's with that move. How are you doing? I was
You
surprised
teed him
by
up.
it.
Wait, come
all
on,
right.
Andy. Let's get coach us up here, Andy. Let's go. Come on.
No, here's what I would say, and it's funny because I got NFL Network right off to the side here, and they're showing all the different receivers of the Bills, right? Look, here's what I do remember. Who was the last great offense they went against? It was Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's got a great offense. Multiple options there. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Yoshavas was really good.
Yeah.
The tight ends were killing them. And guess what? How many times, Mike, I'll ask you from your coach's eye, how many times did we see Joe Burrow sit there and go, uh-oh, that didn't open, that didn't open, that didn't open. I got to get rid of this ball. This Broncos secondary has handled much better receiving cores than what they're going to face today. Look, they got to get a turnover. They got to create a couple short fields. All Bo has to do, honestly, all Bo needs to do as far as big plays, give me 1.5. Give me one each half, maybe one of those Marvin Mims throws, or get the screen set up perfectly like you did against the Chargers in the early going before you lost your mind with the play calling, where you had that long 50-yard run. Just give me a couple of those. Again, guys, the longer this game stays close, the more the Bills' little sphincters are going to tighten. And again, I've watched it with the Broncos. D-Mac, remember that Colts game 2014? We were both in the building. They were supposed now. We found out later none of the players really wanted to move on and go play New England. But as that game went along, you just kept getting this sinking feeling, and you could feel it in the stadium of, oh, here we go again. All the Broncos have to do is create a little bit of that feeling among this Bill fan base, man. This is not out of reach.
Yeah, it was just like it ain't. Peyton Manning was hurt. Every coach on the Broncos was interviewing for a job. It was weird, man. Nobody talks about that year. It's Super Bowl 48 and Super Bowl 50.
That's not happening in Buffalo right now, though.
We'll see. We will see. I mean, the Pittsburgh.
Hey, Sean McDermott's under some pressure now.
Yeah,
he's certainly under
Don't
pressure.
go losing this.
You also make the point about how the last great offense that they played is Cincinnati, and they looked fine. And Burrow's a different quarterback than Josh Allen is, and the two quarterbacks that they have played that have that type of arsenal, which is you can make every throw in the book, but you can also evade pressure. The two quarterbacks that they have played that have had that to a T are Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert, and the defense did not look good against those two quarterbacks. That's why I am terrified about the Bills game today as compared to playing against a guy like Joe Burrow, because you can sit back and you can try and defend him. I know T. Higgins went off. That's because Riley Moss was injured.
Mosier, if the Broncos win today,
coming back from injury.
If the Broncos win today, Mosier, it'll be because of what?
It'll be because they controlled the football, didn't turn the ball over, and won the turnover battle. I mean, they need to have time of possession, the quick strike capabilities. And listen, guys, we talk about Josh Allen. I don't want to put him in that MVP conversation. I really don't, but I think he's
You're
really
poking
good.
a bear you don't want to poke right now, man.
Josh isn't listening right now, fellas. I'm just gonna be real honest.
but coach, his ability, his innate ability. I think Bo Nix's running ability is superb. I love it. Josh Allen's ability to run out of the pocket is just amazing to me. Just amazing.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Listen, I did go back and watch, and listen, there's a lot of good film. I watched the bad film. I watched the Texans game and saw what they did against Josh Allen, and it was containment.
Yep.
It was containment and pressure, not sacks. So and he did run around a little bit, and they converted a fourth down for a touchdown. But aside from that, he went 0 for 8 throwing the ball in the fourth quarter against the Texans. The Texans were -2 and won that game on a walk-off 59-yard field goal. there's a way to just bother Josh Allen.
I find it interesting that the Chargers and Justin Herbert, who I do think has more parallels in skill set to Josh Allen than people do say, because they're both big and athletic quarterbacks that use their escapability to set up throws on the run outside the pocket. And the Texans last night, they did the exact same thing against Justin Herbert.
Contained.
They
pressure.
kept him in the pocket, beat us in the pocket.
Andy, what do you think on that?
Well, I would say this. Look, I like your term Slim Shawnee, D-Mac, so I'm going to borrow it. Slim Shawnee can't be telling – well, he can't be telling Vance Joseph, don't run a defense you don't run. Because, look, I'm just going to tell you, I'm convinced in Baltimore in the 2 games that Raj mentioned, they played a lot of zone. They didn't go after the quarterback. He didn't want his – he said it in the presser. I don't want my corners running in man and not looking at the quarterback. Well, but that's not your defense. Our identity is man coverage.
When you play that way.
Quarterback. You got to play that way. What did our buddy Stink tell us all the time, D-Mac? I know he's probably told you to. You can't just decide middle of the season, I want to be a run team. This is a run game. You just don't remake identities of teams because it fits the game you're about to play. Don't change the identity of your defense. If you go down because you're playing man and he gets out, then that's how it went. You got to adjust for next year. But don't lose being who you are. Brandon Marshall, the old linebacker, told me that. When he got cut from Jacksonville, I will never forget the story he told me. He knew Denver was his final shot when he got here. And he said, I had gone up in weight, I'd gone down in weight. I tried to be every player they wanted me to be because he'd been on 4 or 5 teams. He said, when I got to Denver, I decided if I'm going to get kicked out of the league, it's going to be because my style of game isn't good enough. Denver's got to think the same way. That's how it's got to be today.
Yeah, if they get beat on man coverage over the top by Josh Allen, so be it. But I'll tell you this about the Bills' offense. They want to run it first. That is their style. They have a bell cow running back.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, they depend on – they have a 1,000-yard rusher. Josh Allen has more rushing yards than the Broncos' top running back. They're actually kind of a run-first sort of team, not a beat you over the top. They don't have stars. Who's the one guy there?
Khalil Shakir.
Shakir, the guy.
Amari
the guy that
Cooper's supposed
Amari
to be.
Cooper's
they traded
been hurt.
for Amari Cooper.
He's been hurt a bunch of years.
Yeah, they got
Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman's a rookie.
Shoeless Mac Hollins dressed up like Fred Flintstone with a buffalo hat and bare feet walking.
And that's how he showed up for a playoff game.
Today's game?
That is Mac Hollins showing up for a playoff game dressed up like Fred Flintstone and bare feet.
Oh, I take back everything I said about being scared about the Bills. I take it back. I take it back.
He does do this every game. Something stupid.
He does something stupid and goofy. But are we afraid of Mac Hollins? Seriously?
No.
Is that something that's going to bother us? No.
You know what this picture looks like? This looks like somebody who, after the Bills lose this game, he's going to make the famous Raj sound, which is where. He's going to be making that
It
sound.
looks ridiculous. Hey, he looks
I'm
ridiculous. Guys,
I'm
I know.
actually
Listen,
getting a little bit more confidence as we're getting closer to game time here. I'm feeling a little bit. Go ahead, Moj. Sorry.
I'm gonna let you go. What I would warn against, God, and I hope. Listen, is there a pathway for the Broncos to win? Yeah, there is a pathway. Things have to go right. I already gave it to you. You need to control the ball. You're not going to out big play them. You're just not going to do that, in my opinion. Yeah, and Bo Nix, is he going to be able to outplay Josh Allen? I don't know. Control the football. God, if they could get a 100-yard rusher out of this game, then I think they can win. And if they win the turnover battle, I think they can win the game. That's just the way it is. I would just say that this is a great opportunity for all the guys on this team. It's an unbelievably valuable learning opportunity. So go have fun, pull out all the stops, man. Go be you, have some fun, play some football, and watch this kid continue to grow before our very eyes. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Now, hold on, Moj. Where are you at, Moj? Are you in a hunting lodge? Like, what's right over your shoulder there? Do you, like, stuff a cat on a big safari or something?
That's a pillow from my couch. That's a pillow from my couch.
I thought that was a live bear.
That's a bear.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy.
Hunting lodge guy. Come on. Stop with this.
I'm at my house.
Who cares? We didn't need to do this shit. We were all going to come on and talk about the 2 seed beating the 7 seed. I want some positivity out of you.
I'm just sitting in my
Andy,
house.
let's go.
I know, let's go,
All right,
Andy.
Andy, let's go. Coach us up here. People listening. Come on, Andy. What do you got to say about this?
I'm just saying, Moses Dauber's down. Who cares? Like, Josh Allen's never had a choke game in the playoffs.
I don't have a Dauber down. My Dauber's. If you want me to show you, I'll show you my Dauber. If you want to see my Dauber, I'll show you my Dauber. It is not down. But right now, I know what they're facing. I know. What are you eating, you hog? I know
Why did you
what.
turn into my aunt? What is going on with your voice? your voice is cracking.
Yeah.
You're all
Bacon, egg, and
sad.
cheese, and some tater
Hey, as
tots
cold as
down
you
at
think it
number
is in Denver
38.
right now, it was minus 15 in Winnipeg. At least minus 15 with the wind chill.
right.
I guarantee you don't have this at home. This is what you're missing. If you're at home thinking it's a better place to be than here at number 38, you're missing a bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, but the
on a
bear
brioche
will make
bun
something
and
better.
tots.
The bear will make something better than that. I promise
doubt
you.
it.
By the way, minus
Sorry,
15
I
in
love
Winnipeg. I didn't realize they played the game outside. All right, Moj, we'll let you go.
Wow.
And
He's got
we'll
2
talk to you
fingers.
later. All right. Okay. And Andy, we'll talk to you later on, too. All right, pal?
Goodbye,
Love you.
guys. Enjoy
All
your
right.
bacon, egg, and cheese. Hey, if you need something to watch later, these guys had a pretty good game last night that we called. Yeah.
Let's go Mammoth, baby.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Andy. Appreciate it. And we'll have our final thoughts. We'll take you right up to kickoff. The crowd is filling in. People are getting pretty fired up at number 38 in Rhino, where we're going to be here for the entire game. We would love to have you join us. It's Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. along with Alice Ryanemi, produced by Steve Nelson, cast of 1,000 joining us. What a fun show, from Romy Bean being in the back of a pickup truck with empty beer cans to Mark Mosier at a hunting lodge, Andy Lindahl, our guy Scott Hastings from Dallas. Really, really, Tyler Palumbo.
Who told you that?
Truck, driving to a Broncos watch party at the stadium. But it is filling up here quickly at number 38 in Rhino. But they have an amazing outdoor. And can you believe it? We can talk about just watching the game outdoors today. No problem. I mean, wear a hoodie and a jacket, I guess. But really, seriously, no big deal whatsoever. The sun's out, guns out. And we've got the playoff atmosphere going. I do want to mention another Broncos news bit. Darren Muji, the assistant GM of the Broncos, who is like a cockroach in terms of survival with the Denver Broncos. He survived head coaches and ownership, and it's crazy. He interviewed for the Jets GM position. So I don't know if you got a relationship with Darren or not.
Yeah, former San Diego State quarterback.
That is correct.
Yeah, another. So actually, a friend of mine that I coached with at Yale, Brian Stark, who has interviewed for the Broncos general manager job, is the director of college scouting. He brought his former player from San Diego State, Darren Muji, to the Broncos. So that's there could be some movement in the Broncos personnel department.
Sean Payton said that because VJ was interviewing for some jobs. It's not a problem if your coaches are interviewing for jobs. It's a problem if they're not interviewing for jobs, meaning you need to surround yourself with talent. Speak on that, and let's focus on the defense here a little bit. Talk to me about VJ. Good, bad, interesting vibe that Sean Payton may have been kind of interfering a little bit in the Ravens game, like getting his 2 cents in. Do you think Sean will leave VJ alone enough and they learned from mistakes of the past for today?
I mean, if he knows what's good for him, again, you have to battle against the feeling that came out from the Chargers game last night. Because if you go in and you look outmatched and you decide to meddle in the defense, which is legit, they might be the best defense in the league. They're certainly top 3, without a doubt. They're top 5, but they might be number 1, depending on who you ask. If you go in and you meddle with the defense, they play too much zone, Allen beats you, you're not able to contain him, he gets out to the right on play action plays, and he beats you over the top, and that's because of Sean Payton's decisions, you then look at, well, are Harbaugh and Payton outmatched for this version of the NFL right now? Are you doing too much? Allow yourself to delegate. Vance Joseph is getting head coaching opportunities and at least interviews this offseason for a reason. And the couple of games that Payton has tried to put his fingerprints on the D have not gone well for you. Stick to your side of the ball. It's okay to not be known as a catch-all head coach. It's okay to be known as an offensive guru. That's okay, especially now. I think it'd be a huge mistake if he tries to do it again.
The original question you asked, D-Mac, is how do I feel about VJ? I feel really good because this Broncos team has done something for the first time in 9 years, which is get to the playoffs, largely on the back of a very aggressive attacking defensive mindset. And Vance Joseph has been the architect of that. And my belief is I have tremendous confidence going into this game in Bo Nix. I have tremendous confidence in Vance Joseph and these defensive players. The one question that I don't necessarily feel completely warm and fuzzy about going into this contest is, can Sean Payton just be the best version of himself for 4 quarters in this contest? If he can, the Broncos win, in my opinion.
There was an interesting moment this week when Von Miller, who takes about 20 snaps a game and really is a DeMarcus Ware-esque specialist for the Bills. Nice thing to have as a specialist, right? Basically did an interview job to become the assistant GM of the Denver Broncos. That was fascinating. 2.5 straight minutes about how much he loves the Broncos and how much they mean to him, and he'll try for 3 or 4 seconds that he's playing, and if he plays 20 plays at 3 seconds, we're talking about a real good minute of effort for Von Miller against the Broncos today. What kind of impact do you think Von's going to have in this game?
If he gets a sack, that's fine. If he gets 2 sacks, that's fine. The one thing that can't happen is a patented Von Miller swim move strip sack. Yeah. The ones that we saw in Super Bowl 50 against Cam Newton, the ones that we saw when he was a member of the Los Angeles Rams, those are the ones that will break the game. You can take a sack. If he plays 20 snaps and the dude walks away with 3 sacks, the Broncos could still win the football game. He just can't be the guy that forces either a tipped ball that gets picked off by a linebacker, or he can't be the guy that when Bo is trying to wait that last half second, swats his right arm down to the ground, and then you're looking with the Bills having the ball on their, on the Denver 33.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Bills and their production as a pass rushing unit, they're in the bottom 12 in the National Football League, outside of the top 20, in terms of creating pressures and sacks. And Von Miller is a piece of the puzzle as a specialist, but that doesn't concern me that going into this contest nearly as much as what I think is going to be a net positive for the Broncos offensively. And I think that Bo Nix is going to lean into what he can do, both as a thrower of the football on the run, he was the best thrower statistically on the run in the National Football League this year. He actually was as good as Patrick Mahomes in his absolute prime in 2021 in terms of throwing the football on the run. And then I also think taking off and running to move the sticks, I think that's going to be a big problem for the Buffalo Bills defense.
I'm excited to see what they do on third down passing situations when when you see Vaughn on the other side of the line of scrimmage. I'm excited to see what Sean Payton schemes up. I think when you see Vaughn playing, these little bubble screens to Mims are going to be everything. The little tunnel screens that we've seen him score touchdowns on. When you're in 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8, maybe even 3rd and 10, instead of trying to throw to the sticks, invite the pressure. Take a little bit of an extra step, get out to the right-hand side, and then dump it off either to a back or to Mims and see if you can get the blocking downfield.
Well, nobody throws those screen passes like the Denver Broncos.
No, they don't.
That being said, the NFL, to me, it feels like, and I don't know analytically, it feels like there's more screens than ever that are being thrown.
It's hard to drop back. I mean, if you're a team that just takes, from under center or shotgun and takes a 5-7 step drop against these insane athletes that are pass rushers in the National Football League, it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe to have a game-altering strip sack fumble at the arm of Von Miller. Like, you have got to play the smart game, and in the case of the Denver Broncos, they happen to be a great screen team. Sean Payton does a really nice job of creating window dressing, eye distractions away from the screen. And the Marvin Mims' first touchdown against the Chiefs last week was a Sean Payton screen special. I think there's going to be more of that today. And the Bills happen to be very susceptible to the quick screen game.
Listen, I don't know if the vibe of a city really plays out with players that haven't grown up there. But I'll tell you this, being in Buffalo for 6 years with those suffering fans, I know what it feels like. Impending doom is right around the corner, and it pervades the entire city. It's one of the few cities in America that's never won a major championship having pro sports ever. And they only got 2. Well, they had basketball back in the day. They didn't win then either. They got the Sabres. They got the Bills. They got a bunch of losing. You're just paranoid as a Bills fan time after time. As we go into this, I'm looking around here. The sun's out. It's absolutely gorgeous. Fellas, we are absolutely playing with house money, and I can feel it right now. We're not going to be devastated if the Broncos lose this game, and that's the positive vibes here in Denver, Colorado. It might be different next year, but that ain't the case this year.
Oh, it's certainly different next year. Next year is if you don't find a way to advance in the playoffs and make life a living hell for Kansas City. That is next year.
That is next year.
But that is a long time from right now. Again, I said Bo could throw 4 picks today, and I'd be like, you know what? It's all right. Yeah. First playoff start on the road in Buffalo. Tough team to play against. You'll get him next year. That's the way she goes. The only thing that would piss me off today is if they are in a position either to win or in they're tied, they're in a game late, and there is a decision made by the head coach
that would kill
costs
me too.
Them the game. That's the only time I'll walk away pissed off.
Let me tell you this. I was told by some little birdies the not going for 2 thing was the biggest regret they've had all season.
Okay.
And Sean realized it. The building realized it. Like, nobody was even hiding it inside the building. It was just a flat-out mistake. So sometimes you learn as you go and you grow. That would kill me today if they were in a position to actually win this game and they pulled off the gas for some sort of reason. You have nothing to lose.
Silver lining there, you don't go for 2 against Cincinnati. There's a play now in your back pocket that you haven't shown the world. So if we're looking for little silver linings in this game.
It's 2 yards. You better have a dozen plays.
They do have a dozen plays.
Yeah,
but
there could
showed
be,
it against Baltimore.
Sometimes there is a silver bullet that you do have. It's like, this is the one. And sometimes it's very creative, right? Obviously, it made the Philadelphia Eagles an overnight success with Philly special.
What was the moment of this season that you thought to yourself, there might be something here with this Broncos team? Something that people don't know.
For me, it was the Tampa and the New York Jets swing. That game together.
The Greenbrier week.
It was just hanging out. How much was it? Over $1.5 million?
It was logistically the most complicated in-season thing the Broncos had ever pulled off, financially and logistically.
And it
was.
And you know what? Remember the Greenbrier, just like remember the Alamo.
Remember the Greenbrier.
And I really do, because
put it on a T-shirt.
Remember the Greenbrier.
But I think that was an opportunity.
Sky Leeds from West Virginia. That could be on the other side of the T-shirt.
It was an opportunity for a rookie quarterback who, at the time, had lost 2 games. And there was a lot of people in this media market, myself included, that questioned whether he was the right choice at that point in time. Well, guess what Sean and the Penner family did? They got him away from all of the negativity of Denver.
They went on a vacation.
They did, and you know what? It was a family retreat, and they all fell in love with each other. And they realized that we together are better than our negative media. And let's get away from it and go win some ball games.
We don't care if it's raining on the tennis courts of the Greenbrier. We're going to do trust balls in the somewhere. Ballroom.
Trust balls.
I don't know. We're going to rope climb. We're going to do something. They couldn't even practice. It was raining so hard. You know what? It seemed like the goofiest, stupidest thing in the world to me. I think there was a couple of other turning point moments. Get your feedback. I think Bo Nix standing up to Slim Shawnee
huge
was a moment. Was a significant moment. I think an earlier moment was when Jordan Love and the Packers, your other team, came to town, and the Broncos did all right. They really did all right.
More than all right.
Yeah.
They really did.
In fact, Cortland Sutton referenced that, saying, wow, this is pretty good with Bo Nix compared to Jordan Love, who just got this big contract.
I'll never forget watching that practice in person and seeing Jordan Love wanting to test Pat Surtain, knowing he was playing with house money. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter, right? A pick against Pat Surtain did nothing because it's practice. And Jordan Love, actually, in the pregame that I had a chance to visit with him, I said, how was practicing against the Broncos? He said, the number one thing I wanted to see is how good Pat Surtain II is. He goes, that boy good.
How do we like the fit for today? Orange bottoms, white tops.
I can't stand him. The worst. I do not like the new uniforms, especially on the road. It's the navy blue helmet with the white new jerseys. You got to just represent the old school D, like an all white old school D with the baby blue helmet, or the all white D helmet.
I would have done the all white.
Just you can't do it with the NFL. You have to designate your jerseys.
Yeah. It's not the best.
It's
look.
not great. Let's hope it happens with the players wearing those jerseys is way better.
By the way, did you buy this hoodie this week?
No, I've had this.
He's had it for a while.
That's a nice look.
It's solid. I'm gonna say 3 months.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah,
real nice.
My aha moment was in between Baltimore and Kansas City, because Coach has been saying this for a while. Bo has always responded, whether it's been drive to drive, play to play, but game to game. And you get your teeth kicked in by the Baltimore Ravens. Absolutely hammered by Baltimore. Although there was a nice little 2-yard play that we saw in that game. Maybe we see something similar to it. The fact that they responded that next week. They didn't win the football game, but they basically did. When you went into Arrowhead against Mahomes, and you found a way to get your team into position to win that football game against an undefeated Chiefs team. That was my... oh, we have something here. Mm-hmm. It didn't come out with a win. It was a loss. That's okay.
Right.
But that was my aha moment, that like this quarterback can be something special.
Is this moment too big for Bo Nix?
No. Absolutely not.
No chance.
Why?
Chance. Because Bo Nix is wired for this moment, and it's why he was drafted, D-Mac, at 12. It's why he was the 6th quarterback. And I said over and over, you don't draft the 6th quarterback, the 6th best, 6th most talented quarterback in the draft at number 12. What you do if he's got unbelievable wiring and great intangible traits.
But he's only the 6th best quarterback if you trust that everybody else ahead of you gets it right. And they didn't. And
that's to be seen. That is 100% to be seen.
That's a 10-year question.
Yeah, that's a 10-year question. It's incomplete grades on J.J. McCarthy. You can't even evaluate that.
Fine. You can have occasional years in the NFL where you can go to McDonald's, you can go to Carl's Jr., you can go to Burger King, and it's going to be okay. You can have years where multiple guys really are the answer. 83 draft. Do you think the Dolphins are upset they got Dan Marino?
No way.
Do you think the Broncos would have rather had Jim Kelly? Do you think the Bills would have rather had John Elway? And I'll tell you the answer is no. There are occasional draft years where you kind of get it right and you luck out. But that's why you can't choose when you suck. It just is what it is. That's why whiffing on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson in 2018 was so painful and was such a tragic mistake. The Broncos got it right. And my final little thing on this, as we're about to get to kickoff, thank God the Walton Penner Group bought the Denver Broncos, okay?
Amen.
And the other news story is a new stadium is coming. Now, where it goes...
Lone Tree, baby.
Well, that'd be fine by me. I mean,
bring it as close to me as possible.
No doubt about it. We're doing
what is
shots
this?
now? What
All I know is that when your
Wow.
boss brings you something to consume, you do
right.
exactly what you're assigned to do, and that is to take a shot.
The guy
Heavy
is drunk.
tequila.
All right, hold on. Let me do something.
Are we standing up to do
Broncos fans! Broncos fans!
Hold up your glass!
For the first time in 9 years, we are about to watch the Denver Broncos in the playoffs. Let's go, Broncos! Oh, my God.
God, D-Mac, you told me that you were supposed
that
to be.
is
You had
heavy
a big
tequila.
Yeah, it was heavy. That was good.
Wow, that was a lot. Okay, we want to thank everybody. Thank you. We got a cleanup crew?
D-Mac, I thought your overall hype was really good. Your chant opportunity was kind of a miss, a little bit.
Just shut up. You with your criticisms. We're here all game. If you want to be Joe Rara, wait, you want a shot?
I can be Joe Rara.
No. Stand up. Hey, everybody. Coach Mike Sanford to get you fired up for today. Coach, let's hear it for Coach.
All right, everybody stand up. Let's go, Broncos. Let's go, Broncos. Let's go, Broncos. Go, Broncos. Hey, today is about this. Why not us? Why not now? Broncos beat the Bills 24-21. Let's go.
That's the guy. That's the guy.
That wasn't much better than what I did.
It was very below average.
Yeah,
That is the guy that took over
Highly
our
below
holiday
average.
party.
I put him on the spot and he failed miserably.
No, you were way worse.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for everybody for having us here. They're about to kick the ball off.
I'd like to ask you a question that you ask all of us.
Oh.
What's your score prediction?
We'll just leave it there. Well, what do you want? You want, all right. 27-20 Bills. But I think the Broncos are going to be awesome.
No. Come on. No.
We'll see what happens, man. At Altitude After Dark, all of us are back online later tonight, 8 o'clock. We do have Nuggets basketball.
Let's go, baby.
The Broncos will get the ball to start the game.
I love it.
So Bo Nix gets the ball first. We thank everybody for listening. Come join us at number 38. What a great place to watch the game. Thanks for everybody for the production and Kevin. And thank you, everybody. Nelly, Cole, everybody. Thank you. Dixon, thank you. Anything else? Any final thoughts as they're about to kick the ball off?
No, just get over here to number 38. Unbelievable. Vibes are over the top awesome.
More tequila shots.
Let's go. Ball's in the air. Broncos got it. We'll talk to you after the game on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5.
Yes! Yes! You got your Justin Fields, baby. Yes! We'll see. Yes!